People will decide if they're convinced or not. You can add as much words as you want. You can state exactly the time frame this will happen or whatever you want to do, but you can't convince people unless they are convinced themselves based on what they've heard. Suitability, you can state it. You can state exactly why you're suitable for something. You can state why you believe you're, appropriate in any kind of way. You're the only one that's honest with yourself. So you've got to look at it from that perspective that you are the only one that can, make an assessment on something and then let the other party decide. I've noticed some people sometimes we add too many words. People add too many words to things. People try and sound as convincing, and there's no harm in trying to persuade, but you have to get to the point where you're literally just being who you are, and you have to deal with what comes with that. But you have to understand that everyone has a choice and let people make their decision. For example, you could be trying to, get in a relationship with someone, right? And you're thinking that, okay, I'm going to state all my points, state reasons, bring my ideologies, bring my belief systems, and then it's up to them to decide if they're on board or not. That's how it works. It's literally as simple as that. You can't force it. They have to make the decision because once they make the decision, you know where you stand. You know exactly that this is where I need to be or not. So you have to let people make their assessment on things. No forcing, no giving your strength to a situation. You have to let people make an assessment. Once they do that, easier for you to make an assessment for where you need to be. Also, I've noticed stating why you're suitable for something. You've got to be in a position that you are confident and you are the only one that has to know that confidence. Once you know that, it should shine through. Most people will see someone, even if it's a portrayal that you're putting on, but most people will see that, yo, this person is coming across exactly in a way that is relevant or in a way that, is suitable for me. So being key and being clear on that is important as well. Because I remember there was a time years ago, I was going for a job interview, right? And I thought I was fresh. I thought I did everything in preparation. I thought I was at a point where I was like, yo, okay, I know exactly what it is that I think makes sense. You do your research. You look fresh in terms of, trying to wear what you think is appropriate, right? So you plan, go, you know, make sure you're there early, make sure that you're within the sort of professional way that these environments want, right? And as long as you're comfortable and you know how you're portraying, then yeah, you should be fine. But that's how I felt. I felt one day I'm just gonna be, you know, the person that wants and is gonna get this position. So I remember I was talking, giving my spiel about what it is I know I can do and giving examples and obviously giving the situations and scenarios and circumstances of how I've navigated things, right? And like when you're speaking, I don't know if you've ever come across this, you're speaking, but you can, if you're really analytical, you can see they're listening, but it's like, all right, yeah, it's like a decision's been made and you're looking like, all right, cool. We can stop, no problem. I can dip because yeah, it doesn't look like it's, I'm a fit, it's that kind of circumstance where it's like, you're like, ugh, but you still finish it and then do what you gotta do. But sometimes you leave and you're like, yeah, nah, I ain't get that. I didn't get that. But you're not too perturbed about it because you kind of saw they weren't convinced. You thought you had your spiel, you had your assessments ready, but they weren't convinced. So it's important to just be clear on what it is, you're about. Don't need to lie. Real people don't need to, fabricate. They just need to say what it is and do what they got to do. And then obviously the other party has to make their assessment as well. It's important because if you're doing anything, you need to know that through most circumstances and situations, some people have decided to be on board for that, as opposed to you forcing or persuading. And you can see sometimes as things are, moving in a certain way, they're like wanted to bail because at the end of the day, they didn't make that decision. They made it to try and appease you, for example. So or they made it for the wrong reasons, for whatever, conclusion they came to. So it's important that you're able to let people be convinced by their own understanding or not. Because at the end of the day, people have a choice to make based on what's good for them. So you will see how people move based on their actions. That's it. Simple. You state your piece and you will see how people move based on their actions. And that's a big learning curve for everyone to go through. You have to just allow actions to speak louder than words. And once you do that, you'll be good. But that's my opinion. And that's my thoughts.